everybody doing? Game week's finally here, so a lot of excitement. A lot of excitement around town. You can feel the buzz around Greenville. You can certainly feel the buzz around campus and within our locker room and meeting rooms. So, a lot of hard work went into getting to this game week and, getting the program to where it is as we start the season. So, obviously a challenging matchup in the opener with a highly ranked NC State team. I think it's highest ranked NC State team preseason in school history. And obviously there's a reason for that. Coach Doran's done a great job developing that roster there, and they had a great year last year. The bulk of their team coming back, one of the top quarterbacks in the country, one of the top defenses in the country. So it's going to be a challenging matchup, but one that we're really excited about. Excited about the response that Pirate Nation has had since I got here. And, we talked about this, when I was hired, getting the program back to where, this is what we expect on game days. So it's good to see kind of that come to reality, and I'm excited for our fan base and our kids. So, questions?
Coach, when you compare and contrast 2019, it was your first game, also with NC State. From a preparation standpoint, you didn't really know maybe what you had with that team compared to now. You have a pretty good idea. Just from your vantage point, how do you maybe compare and contrast these situations?
Well, there's not really a good comparison. I mean, we were outmanned pretty badly on that day in 2019, and we kind of knew that going into the season. You can only do so much in the 6 months. You got to kind of develop as much as you can what you have. But obviously it was a spotlight on where our program was at that time in comparison to NC State's. Now I think that there's been a lot of work done in recruiting, in development, and growth. There's a handful of guys that were on that field for that game in 2019 that are going to be on the field Saturday, and just seeing how they've grown and seeing how the program's grown, it's a different program. Now, that being said, I think NC State's program is a different program now too. I think they're arguably the best team in the ACC this year. I've watched a lot of ACC games this summer. I've seen the bulk of the conference and what they had last year and what they got coming back. As we prepared for NC State. And, they have to feel that they have a realistic chance of winning the conference championship. So I think it's, like I said earlier, we've got a good football team. I have no doubt about that. We have a big challenge Saturday, and one we're excited about. Not really. I mean, the thing that motivates me is, I came here to do a job, and I came here because of what I knew the potential this program could be, and this fan base knew what it was from its passion, and what motivates me is getting the program to where it is today. For our players, for our staff, for our university, for our fan base, and yeah, there's a lot of history between these two teams that dates back, long before I was here and long before I was, even in coaching. So it's a game that our fans are excited about. I'm sure their fans are too. And it's our opening game of the season. So it's a big one for a lot of reasons.
Coach, you talk a lot about motivation. The guys are going to be pumped up first game of the year, big opponent coming in. On the flip side of that, do you have to make sure they're not too hyped up, too motivated, so they can stay focused? Is that a concern, or especially in a game like this?
Well, I think that's a big piece of it. It's fortunately we had some pretty big moments last year to prepare for this. certainly the Cincinnati game and the finale last year was, pretty electric environment. The game in Charlotte against App last year, and that was one of the things coming out of that game that, after not playing in front of any fans with a bunch of freshmen in 2020, a lot of them did not handle that very well. And so it's something I've been talking to the players about is, our teams play with a lot of passion and emotion, but you can't let your emotions control you. And certainly it's going to be electric at kickoff on Saturday in our stadium. They've got to focus in on playing the game one play at a time and executing at a high level, doing what they've been coached to do. And that's going to be a big key to it. That's going to be a big key for both teams. I'm sure Coach Doran is talking to his team about the same things. And certainly they've been in some big ball games, and they've been in that environment in the past. But still, it's the opening game of the season, and so managing that at kickoff in the first beginning of the game is going to be a big piece Saturday.
Coach, when you look at their offense, Devin Berry obviously comes to mind. Can you compare him to any other quarterback that you've seen?
Well, I think first off, just his decision making to go along with his arm talent. He's got a very strong arm. He's a really good athlete. He runs very well, but he doesn't make a lot of big mistakes. I think 35 touchdowns to 5 interceptions last year. So, he's not only a talented athlete, but he's a really good quarterback. And when you look at a couple of guys we faced last year, whether it was Grant Wells at Marshall, who I thought was one of the better quarterbacks we saw all year, or Desmond Ritter, who we saw, in the finale from Cincinnati, who was, a pretty high round draft pick. I think he's kind of in that level as far as a player. And, you put that with all the weapons that he has around him. They've done a great job with, either development or transfers and giving him a lot of viable options to go to. It's going to be a great challenge on Saturday to defend him.
I know this goes both ways, but what are some of the challenges of preparing for a team in the opening week when maybe the most recent film is, a year old?
Well, we both face the same challenges there. So, I watched their spring game on the ACC network, which is about as vanilla as it could get, which I don't blame them for that. I would have been the exact same way. And certainly, I've had scouts all out around our practices and around our stadium during scrimmages and stuff, making sure we didn't have any peeking eyes or anything like that, because we're both trying to protect what we've done new, the wrinkles we've installed over the summer. So certainly there's going to be some things that both of us see from each other that, wasn't there last year as part of opening games. But still, with both of us, there's so much experience returning. The staffs are intact. You're not going to get away from what you've done well. And so we've worked very, very hard on what we've seen from film from them last year. We're prepared. On paper, we're prepared. We'll see how we match up physically when we get out there. But there's going to be some things we got to adjust to here early in the ball game Saturday.
A week or so ago, Coach Kirkpatrick mentioned that Holton had kind of been watching film on state all offseason, which I know you
Right.
like to focus on yourself, not the opponent that early. But was it pretty clear to you that he had, when he first saw NC State's defense at practice last week, that he had seen a lot of film on them?
Well, it's we spend a good bit of time in the summer on upcoming opponents. We've looked at future opponents, well into our schedule this year. So, him looking at tape on state throughout the summer is not something that's uncommon. But I do think that he probably got into more serious study earlier than a lot of players did. Holton's seen a lot, and I talked about that with just going against him in scrimmages during preseason camp. I don't know that you're going to have many quarterbacks in the country that have taken more snaps coming into the season than he has. And so, with that, he's a smart guy, smart football guy. He prepares himself very, very well. So hopefully he's going to be able to put us in the right situation Saturday, he and Coach Kirkpatrick, to where, we have the best play call possible. And then it becomes making great decisions post-snap. But, certainly he's excited about this matchup, and especially when you look at what we're going against defensively. There's a reason why they're talking about this, maybe being the best defense in the country. They have a lot of really talented guys that have very, very experienced on that side of the football. So it's going to be a big challenge for him on Saturday.
looks like Keaton Mitchell getting crack at kick returner. You know, what kind of went into that decision, maybe weighing the risk versus the clear benefits, and then, you know, how excited are you to have him back there?
Well, it's something he really wanted to do, number one. I think number two, anytime we can get the ball in his hands, I think it's a plus. He's an experienced guy and a good decision maker, which I think that's, you got to trust who you put back there at that deep returner. You know, we've not just him. No, we've put some good players out there with him. You know, I'm not going to let them, you know, put him out there if he's not going to have good guys around him taking care of him and blocking for him. But you know, I felt like we needed to make some really positive improvement in special teams in a couple of areas over what we did last year, and kick return was one of them. And so that was the major factors.
Hey, is there anything else for Coach? Thank you, Coach.
Thanks a lot. Go Pirates.